investing is a lifetime opportunity. I think people have to start somewhere. I think the best time is now. People keep talking about this great American dream where any common citizen could always dream to become the next billionaire or the next president of America. I think that particular opportunity is there in the crypto.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alpha Unhashed. Today we have Arjun with us, a co founder of Geotus. Arjun, over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself quickly?
So I'm founder of Geotus. Geotus is one of the largest crypto platforms in the country. We are one of the few exchanges who support instant deposits, instant withdrawals, along with crypto withdrawals being open. And it has been 7 years, and we have got more than 1 million customers. That is about Geotus. And yeah,
Okay, so you have 1 million customers in India on your exchange. Should Indian users be allowed to be investing in crypto and get exposed to such volatile risk?
so I think crypto is a interesting way to make a lot of money, right? If you can do it right, I think we have all seen it. People who are able to use crypto in the right manner, they have been able to create multi-generational wealth. I would even say life-changing wealth. But the question that you're asking is right. But in that case, you look at the overall investing market, right? Not just crypto, the FNO market, the investing market, mutual funds, and then crypto. Everywhere, I think the first time the user enters, right, there are a lot of mistakes that they make. But I think the biggest mistake a user can make is not touching these options, sticking just to bank FDs. There is a learning curve. People who are well prepared, who understand the market and then make investments, I think they are definitely better off compared to people who just rush. They just buy the meme coins that their friend says, and they're by getting into the FOMO and FUD, and then they end up buying high and selling low, and they make losses. Right? Both these people are there, but I think people who have already seen one cycle, they are a little bit more prepared to handle the current bull run rather than people who are coming in for the first time. But I think it's not one-time opportunity, right? Investing is a lifetime opportunity. I think people have to start somewhere. I think the best time is now.
Okay. So yeah, that's true. I mean, in this volatile asset class, which is all of 14, 15 years old, 16 if you take, since the time Bitcoin started, there's so much wealth which has been created. And today, as we speak, it's over $4 trillion now. And the expectation is that this will probably grow at least 10 times from where we are right now. You started fairly early in the overall sort of cycle of crypto. If you go back 7 years when Geotus started, what has been one of the most difficult times for you through these 7 years, and when was that? If you can just talk to us about that.
See, if you talk about this overall journey, there are three aspects to it. One is it is cryptocurrency. It's extremely volatile. You have seen the highs and lows. And entrepreneurship in general, it's about highs and lows. And then there's also the uncertainty that the government brings to the table, right? I think the biggest risk that we had was always the government regulations. So we were not sure, especially in 2017 when we started, which direction government will take. And it was a bet. We thought Bitcoin will inevitably grow larger and larger, and at some point, government regulations are going to come. I thought it will take 2-3 years, and it has already been 7 years, and we are we have got closer to regulations definitely, but I think we are still at least a year away from complete regulations. So in 2018, when we are about to start the exchange, that is when the RBI regulations came. They said crypto companies cannot have bank accounts. In 2020, 2021, we almost had a draft bill that was publicly available, which spoke about a jail sentence if you held crypto. Uh, I think these are the toughest times, and of course, the 2022, it was one of the biggest crashes that we saw. We had like companies like FTX, Vault, BlockFi, Celsius, Voyager, Three Arrows Capital, multiple other companies going down. Right? You started doubting your senses. Like you didn't expect something as large as FTX to go down. So the FUD kind of even got to the hardest hands. So I think these are some of those lows that we had experienced over the 7 years. But I guess Bitcoin, every Bitcoin high always gave you back that little bit of hope that we are in here for a long journey.
Right. Yeah. I think can imagine. I've been in the space for about 4 years now, and 3 years since I started building Arna, which we launched recently. So even in this short span of time, there is so much. The graph, the vicissitudes of crypto are so varied that it makes everything pale in comparison for a foundational technology to be sort of going through this. And you spoke about regulation. Clearly, regulatory headwinds or uncertainty, rather, is one of the major issues that kind of actually, in many ways, for any new foundational technology, new asset class, it's sort of happens. We're probably caught in we're seeing it live happen to us. That's why it's such a big issue. But it's very interesting. Globally, we're seeing things change, probably evolving towards that. There's been Mika, which came out in Europe. The UAE and Abu Dhabi have come up with pretty clear guidelines. Here in Singapore, the MS has a pretty evolved framework around crypto, and there's more thinking coming around it. And US, obviously, which was kind of differing. Now there's a big change happening there. It was very interesting earlier. I mean, just a couple of hours before this, I don't even know whether this is true or not. But one of the celebrated ex RBI governors, Raghuram Rajan, has I read
Ripple.
joined Ripple's advisory board, and that is such an interesting thing to be happening. So, what are your thoughts on that aspect, especially in view of the fact that the RBI governor who just went out, Mr. Shaktikant Das, very robust governor in terms of his monetary and fiscal sort of management and policy, but I don't know, probably quite ill-advised as far as crypto is
Crypto is concerned.
concerned. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts?
See, I think this year, at least last 3 4 months, has been great in terms of regulations. First, like you said, the moment the chance of Trump winning increased, right? It's not even the Trump victory, right? The moment the odds shifted in the poly market in favor of Trump, I think the optimism started spreading in the crypto market. And India and most of the countries, right, they look up to US for all these regulations. We're not going to come up something on our own. Even if you look at the G20 summit, which India headed, India wanted a framework that all the countries could follow, right? They didn't want to set something on their own. They wanted a common framework. So, with all these things that are happening around the world, it gave us a lot of hope. And last week, we also had the chief economic advisor, Mr. Ananta Nageshwaran. He also spoke that crypto should not be dealt in the same way as you are dealing with banks and other things. A little bit of relaxed approach can be taken. And this coming from the chief economic advisor, someone who is pretty close to the government, it rarely happens, right? Especially people close to the government, they don't make any opinion on crypto, especially the good opinion of crypto, allowed. You see people comparing it with casinos, gambling, and all those things that happened, especially after FTX. You had a lot of regulators coming in media talking bad about crypto, but you don't see regulators or someone close to the regulators talking positive. It was a big change. And even Raghuram Rajan joining Ripple board is a kind of surprise even for me. One thing is like Ripple has been working closely with the banks. I think right from inception, right? Nothing new over the 6 years. They even acquired MoneyGram. They have been eyeing this remittance market for a long period, and they are also launching Ripple-based stablecoin RLUSD. With their bank partnerships, they should be able to make it work. Adding Raghuram Rajan is definitely going to bolster their overall image. They also won the lawsuits against them that was filed by SEC. I think overall Ripple is in a good space, and you can see that in that price as well. I think it was unexpected to see Ripple having this kind of a crazy run. You could expect that from maybe an Ethereum or a Shiba, or even Solana, right? But Ripple, I didn't expect this to happen, and I think it's positive. Right? All these people who had experience in running, especially someone who has run the central, I mean, being an RBI governor, he would have had a lot of perspectives, right? Shaktikanta Das was one of the foremost enemies of the crypto industry in India because he didn't change his stance even once. He always asked for a ban. He didn't even talk about strict regulations. He called for a ban directly, and him leaving office in December, Gary Gensler quitting SEC in Jan. I think finally a lot of things are coming into place, and the current is RBI governor. He's a computer science graduate for a change, so probably a little bit more understanding we can expect from Mr. Sanjay Malhotra. So a lot of tailwinds I can see with respect to India, with respect to global crypto regulations. I think, and you also mentioned about Dubai, Singapore.
Yeah. But at the same time, the whole game of regulation is especially for complex markets, complex large countries, is not an easy one. So at the same, in India, too many things have to be balanced. Unlike in the US, for example, in spite of being overtly capitalistic, where you can just straightforward go in one direction, India has its complexities. So I think the regulators have a difficult task as well. But quite often, like I say, India is very much an over-regulated market and under-enforced, as far as enforcement, sort of the application of regulation is concerned. In crypto, the whole ecosystem that advises the apex regulators, I think that needs to evolve, and I think people need to get comfortable with this as a technology, and what it can really fix. And for example, take Ripple. I mean, what have they tried to fix over such a long period of time? But in terms of having providing the bridging with traditional financial rails with crypto, it takes time for all of this to kind of materialize. And the fact is that the whole technology is pretty new. So in some way, the regulators have a tough task, but to kind of gravitate to one side and just issue statements around banning and stuff like that doesn't help for sure.
See, in this, 2 points I want to add. All right, I was also part of this FATF meeting that held in Indore last month in November. One of the things that FATF stresses when it comes to crypto regulations is that exactly what you said. They are saying jurisdictions where the enforcement is strong, those are the jurisdictions where even a ban is possible, right? People always assume a ban is an easy solution, regulation is tougher, but it's the other way around. Right now, especially after 2023, when crypto businesses were all brought under FATF, sorry, not FATF, FIU, and we started reporting, finally there is some kind of communication that has been happening from the industry to the government and government to the industry. So FAU was almost seen as a regulator. Of course, they are not the regulator for crypto, but because that is one body at this point of time we are reporting to, it also facilitated a lot of dialogue that could happen between the industry and government. And I think that has moved a lot of things forward. People thought whether this industry could ever come under regulatory body, would they have satisfactory compliances in place. So all those doubts have been resolved. At least the top exchanges, we have been able to follow all the norms FAU has put against us, be it in terms of suspicious transaction reporting or sanction screening, having proper enhanced due diligence. So we have been able to comply with the request, and they have been able to get a lot of data, right? When you ban it, you have access to no data, and you're going to be solving cases in the blind. So in a country like India, I think that is something that they have also understood. That is the reason they have been resisting the advice from RBI governors. But I guess regulation is easier for the government. At least they will know what is happening compared to a ban or whatever uncertainty right now we are in.
Yes, I think sort of overall, if you look at sort of not commenting on any particular sort of country, but overall, if you look at the global scenario on crypto, it's definitely in a moving into a much better space than we were earlier. But at the same time, part of the whole there are issues around the whole casino culture, which has also evolved in part of crypto. And I think it's partly the whole spectrum of folks that some crypto attracts is just very interesting. At one end you got deep thinkers, builders, researchers, or folks who are completely believe in the whole concept of decentralized money and what and a decentralized life as a philosophy. And at the other end there are speculators, punters, and there, and at sort of extreme end there are a whole bunch of scammers. The fact is that there is a whole bunch of casino like culture, and whether that needs to probably mature as well within crypto. And yeah, interesting to see what do you think about that.
See, the way I see it is, if see, Bitcoin is an amazing technology, but if you look at mass adoption, the only reason we have so many people talking about Bitcoin, or when is it that Bitcoin makes the front page news, or or even in digital, how do they make it to the first page of the website, right? When Bitcoin hits the all-time high. So the price is the Trojan through which we are able to get the technology to the masses. The casino is something that brings a lot of on-chain users, a lot of Web 2 users into Web 3. I think that is like a feature and not a bug. Uh, you need something, an attractive hook to get people into crypto. Look at Satoshi, right? What kind of marketing he has ever done. Right, today, Bitcoin is more than $2 trillion in market cap. It's mostly the users. So without that price attached to it, this technology would not have had the adoption that it has had right now. We would not have people talking about it. Uh, Frankly speaking, 99% of the people who are in this crypto space, they are here to make money. But I don't think that's a wrong way to
Yeah.
look at things. It has also solved the way how projects could raise money. Earlier, you are at the mercy of venture capitalists. Right now, good projects, venture capitalists are at the mercy of the projects, right? The projects which are choosing which VC they want to work with. So a lot of things have changed, and it has also opened the borders how people could invest in early stage projects. It doesn't mean like Google you have to wait for 10, 15 years before Google came out of the venture capital ecosystem and became a listed company, from which point retail could start investing. But of course retail needs to do the due diligence. It is very difficult to teach people to be responsible, right? There are some people who join the crypto ecosystem, at the same time they start learning about things, and there are people who jump head first. They get burnt, and then they realize, okay, crypto is not just about casino, it's about a lot more things. In the bear market, that's why I always differentiate people who have seen 2 3 cycles versus people who have seen the first cycle, right? So they start valuing fundamentals a little bit more. And this cycle has been crazy, to be honest, right? Typically you see Bitcoin going up, then the alt season, and finally meme coins doing really well. This season started with meme coins doing really well. We had Bonk, Floki, coins doing extremely well, and then Bitcoin started its bull run, and now we are almost in the meme coin super cycle. You see so many meme coins. We had this crazy things happening with pump.fun. Solana has been riding this whole wave right from the 8 to 10 $8 10 valuation it was in 2022. It has gone to 220 $230. So crypto is a lot of craziness packed in short span of time. I think meme coin is definitely part of it, but I think it's a feature and not a bug. If you are
Hmm.
working in DeFi, you have a lot of DeFi projects. If you don't have these kind of traders, right, you need TVL, right? And I think TVL is coming from these kind of projects.
All right. Yes, it takes all sorts to tango, and for a new technology and an asset class, you need this whole spectrum in many ways, and it's very fast evolving as such. So we'll see it, especially I think in the next 3 years for crypto, and tokenization itself is going to be phenomenal. So Arjun, tell me something about growing up. So where did you grow up? What happened? Share an interesting story from your early days.
So, I mean, primarily we started crypto 7 years back. And now when I look back, when you ask this question, it's like, it's almost like my entire life I've been doing crypto, right? I'm not able to recollect things beyond 2017, right? Because so many things have happened in the last 7 years, especially being an entrepreneur, you're always so tied up with your product, with the ecosystem. So I've been I was born and brought up in Chennai. That is where I spent the first 22 years. I did my undergraduate in computer science from a college in Chennai. After that, I did my MBA from IIM Calcutta. So that is where I met my future co-founder Vikram. So I went on to work with Vodafone. I was working in Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, all the interior parts. After that, I worked with a company called Amplus. They are into renewable energy space. It was a B2B job. That is when I had a lot of time because in B2B, especially when you're working in Bangalore, most of the time you spend time in traffic or you're traveling from airport to the city, city to airport. And I had a lot of time to study things. That is when I came across Bitcoin white paper. I really got hooked, started investing, and at that point in time, Vikram was also in Bangalore. He was working with Amazon at that point of time. So that is when we got together. And earlier we started as an investors. Uh, and in 2017, there weren't many platforms available for Indians. You had Zeppay, Unocoin, CoinSecure, and only one coin was available. You could invest only in Bitcoin. If you want to invest in Ethereum, you need to go to a different exchange, or you need to take Bitcoin from this Indian exchange, take it to an international exchange like Bitrex, Poloniex, and convert that into the token that you wanted. So, and even a simple process like KYC approval, any customer care related issues, it took weeks to solve because this was 2017 bull run. So these companies are also for the first time in their history, they are seeing such kind of rush for people trying to get onto the Bitcoin bandwagon. So, so I mean, that was a clear opportunity for us. We were also looking for spaces which is pretty small right now and which could be really huge in future. And at this point of time, not giving a great customer experience, right? So it was fitting all our requirements. So we started building this exchange around September, October in 2017, and our exchange launched on April 14, 2018. Right? These are the key milestones. So one thing that we are talking about, right, India has been slow on regulations. At this point of time, crypto is unregulated in the country. From day one, we have realized this one particular thing. If there is no pain point, right, there is no business for us. We are here because it's hard to do this. Uh, let's take a use case where crypto was regulated in India. We will not have this opportunity to start an exchange. You would have the NSE, BSE, Zerodha, or even a HDFC Bank or Angel Grow. Someone would have launched this product and they have the huge customer base, they have the marketing money, and they will drive you out of the market. Because it was unregulated, we had this opportunity. And right now, we are primarily looking at Indian customers because globally, I think crypto trading is a solved problem. But in India, it's still a huge issue because on ramp, off ramp is not so easy. So over the 7 years, we are 30-40% of our time has been spent in solving the banking issues for our customers. We want to onboard as many banks as possible, build redundancy because crypto is a risky product as such, right? So it's always a matter of time before a compliance officer in the bank says we don't want to work with you. So at that point in time, we always need to have these ready. So my last 7 year memories have always been talking to different stakeholders, trying to convince them of crypto, why we are here for the long term. Prior to that, of course, clearing cat, getting into IMC, those experiences were memorable. But after coming into the crypto world, into the entrepreneurship, I think the kind of highs and lows we have had, those memories look pretty small, right? Yeah. Also because it's more recent, that could also be the thing. But yeah.
All right. Okay. So and in the more recent past, and maybe if I take a step back, as a repeat, as a second time founder myself, um, I find that we don't celebrate our wins or small victories. as much as we should. And so many interesting things happen in this whole journey of building companies, building teams, solving problems, creating products, taking them to market, failing, being beaten down, then standing up. And so it's such a phenomenal experience with so many things. But sometimes we fail to um, celebrate, all many things that happen. What's one of the things you'd like to sort of remember and celebrate as a win, or something interesting that happened in the more recent past?
See, I think the toughest period for Geotus was the first 1.5 years, right? We had the RBI banking ban. We also had a bear market, and this is the first time for us into crypto. And we are like, we are not, we were in crypto space for less than 2 years at that point of time, right? We had the conviction, but still, at some nights, you still think whether you did the right thing of coming to this point. So when we hit this milestone of 10,000 customers, that is something that was like pretty happy moment for us. It was also a significant event because we had someone deposit 40 lakhs on that particular day, right? Within weeks time, we had one customer who deposited 200 bitcoins he wanted to sell.
Hmm.
And we, at that point in time, we were a kind of platform that has existed less than 1 year, and people are trusting us with that kind of money. So normally, if I were the customer, I would not do that, right?
Mm.
So we got really paranoid at that point of time. We realized people are trusting us, and we need to deliver that trust. Be in terms of platform security. It's okay if you are going slow, but that was the day when we had people depositing 200 bitcoins, or when one customer deposited 40 lakhs to purchase crypto. That kind of it was mind blowing for us because we couldn't believe it. Was kind of incredible. Someone just transferring 40 lakhs to our bank account. They didn't know where we are. They are living in a different place in the country, right? They are not based out of Chennai or Bangalore. So that was mind
And
blowing.
when was this?
2018, somewhere in November, December types.
Okay, so that's
2018,
so you remember that as one of those occasions which was phenomenal, and you need to sort of
phenomenal.
celebrate
And
that.
yeah, and 2021, the whole journey was great in the sense, right after the 2020, I think March or April, we had Supreme Court lifting the RBI ban. It was not a single moment. The 18 months after that was a crazy time period, right? We had what Bitcoin reaching 60, $65,000. Our trading volumes went through the roof, right? We were doing 20 crores per day, 30 crores of trade volume per day, which we had never done, right? In 2020, we would have been doing 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs per day, and now we are doing 10 crores per day, and we were profitable, right? So we have been bootstrapped right from day one, right? It took us like around 24 months to break even, and this kind of coincided with the COVID time period, right? Post COVID, April 2020 is when the market really took off. So that 18 months was something amazing for us, and we are in another bull market. So we are hoping that this bull market kind of exceeds whatever happened in the previous bull market in terms of Geotus hitting revenue milestones, uh, or customers hitting their profit milestones. So hopefully this bull market goes much higher. That's something that I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. So on the Alpha Unhashed podcast, we drink something to one of these moments in a founder's or a leader's journey of celebration. So have you got a drink with you?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, you got that red can, and I've got a beer with me. So cheers to that, and cheers
Cheers.
to everything that's coming up.
And also 107K Bitcoin.
Yes, absolutely. Every day is something new, and I was just reflecting. In fact, you know, Doctor, a name like Doctor Raghuram Rajan joining, a crypto company's advisory board is something phenomenal. I just remembered whilst talking about celebration. So almost what in at Milk Mantra, which was the first company I founded, um, and it was a whole purpose-driven consumer food company. And we have a whole ethical milk sourcing program, and we did several financial interventions to impact the lives of all the marginal farmers in the network. And one day I get a phone call, and I sort of on my mobile, and I pick it up. They're saying this is this officer from RBI saying that the RBI governor, Dr. Rajan, would like to visit you and Milk Mantra. I was like, I thought it was a prank call or something. I said, then I had a chat and realized it was true. So I said, yeah, of course. They were saying, is that okay with you? I said, yeah, very, very much okay. Please, would be sort of thrilled to have him over. So he visited Milk Mantra, visited, spent quite a bit of time with my team and with me and all of us. We spoke, and he was very keen to understand the what our whole financial inclusion model was like in the entire supply chain, how we were impacting the farmers, all of that stuff. So finance and sort of these are all these moments are so very important in a in a founder's journey, and I think we just need to celebrate all of this. Anyway, so finance, inclusion in multiple dimensions. I mean, when we talk about inclusion, quite often we think about bottom of the pyramid and stuff like that, but it really is not the case. If you look at the exclusion that has happened, the buoyant middle class, really, which across the world, which has been the meritocratic layer of the society, which kind of propels innovation, entrepreneurship, everything, has in many ways been over time, in the more recent few decades, been excluded out of financial opportunities. And The higher financial sort of opportunities, the alpha has gravitated to the 1%, which can easily be 10%, or and do you think decentralized money and crypto tokenization will really expand financial opportunities, to which will kind of make the alpha flow to a wider section of the global audience?
Absolutely. Uh, the first thing I'm thinking of is, without crypto, can we think about any financial product that could give 10x, 20x in the span of 1 year, right? Maybe a few stocks in the small cap sector, but these are kind of rare, right? When you routinely come across these kind of products, when you talk about hedge funds, when you talk about the VCs, private equity, they have access to huge amount of opportunities compared to a retail. So this decentralized finance and crypto tokens in general, they have definitely given more opportunities to the retail, but after that it's up to the retail to make use of that opportunity, do investment in a responsible manner, do their research, and uh, make the best of this opportunity. But in end of the day, the key thing is like that opportunity is there, right? People keep talking about this great American dream, where any common citizen could always dream to become the next billionaire or the next president of America. I think that particular opportunity is there in the crypto. We have seen a lot of people who started with very minimal capital, doing uh, right things over a period of time, and they're able to generate lifelong wealth. So that is an aspect that is kind of exclusive to crypto. Even outside that, you look at Indian banking system, for example. If you hold an account with any of the banks, if you hold less than 1,000 rupees, there are multiple charges that gets deducted, and you get into that minimum balance zone, where again banks charge you on your fee, and you end up holding 0 rupees or sometimes even negative, because you have not touched. So for the bottom of the pyramid, this is a huge problem. They don't trust the banks, because for them this 20 rupees for the SMS or 100 rupees for the debit card, these are all very important. And when they are being charged 200 rupees or 300 rupees for not maintaining minimum balance, the trust breaks and they stay away from the banking sector. I'm not saying these people have to come to crypto, but I would say crypto has shown a way where these costs can be minimized. If I had 0.001 Bitcoin way back in 2014, it would still be 0.0001 in on chain, right? There is no minimum balance fee, there is no transaction cost of holding it. Of course, the transaction cost for transferring is pretty high. Hopefully, those things need to get down if you want mass adoption. But I think we are getting somewhere over there. When you talk about tokenization, again, this is a very important innovation that I can see spreading to the traditional world as well over the next 2 3 years. I'm not sure the exact timeline, but across the world, right, the transaction and settlement is separate. In the crypto world, we start treating them as one and the same, right? There is no difference between a transaction and settlement. We don't have this terminology of T plus one, T plus two. We don't hear it in crypto, but in traditional Visa, MasterCard, or even NASDAQ or Indian stock market, National Stock Exchange, you keep hearing about T plus one settlement, T plus two settlement. Even for a vendor, right? You see on the street when they have a card machine, when they have an UPI based payment, for a lot of these people, they don't get that settlement on a day-to-day basis. They don't get that access to that working capital for 2 3 days. But crypto and tokenization can change all of these things or most of these things. And of course, it gives a so basically competition improves everyone, right? So government finally has got a competitor. So now they need to work harder. They need to make it better and cheaper. So in that way, I think crypto is definitely helping the overall masses in terms of giving them better technology and access to making wealth, both.
Hmm. Right. So what in crypto is the single most factor that kind of really inspires you to build Geotus? So that's my first. It's a two-part question. What is that? And the second part too is that how are you going about building Geotus as an exchange, which is different from the everything else that's there? How is it, and how is it aligned with what that one aspect is, which kind of really strikes a chord with you as far as crypto is concerned?
I think I'll give the most obvious answer. My favorite project or something in crypto that every day we kind of get inspired by is Bitcoin. It's not just what it is today, right? Even the origin story. First thing is, it was the first project that showed how it could be done, right? Decentralized finance, how it could work. Right? People thought it was just a fantasy. We had projects earlier like Libra Finance and a few projects. I don't even remember those names, but none of them had this kind of product market fit that Bitcoin had. And Satoshi Nakamoto, the most important person, he thought of a lot of things that could affect Bitcoin, not just the Bitcoin's design, right? For example, he spoke about how if WikiLeaks starts accepting Bitcoin, it will bring too much of heat too early. He could see a lot of things what will kill Bitcoin, and maybe in the first 2 3 years he stayed away from it at least till Bitcoin became large enough. This week we had Google founder talking about quantum chips that could, and people started commenting about how that could potentially one day kill Bitcoin. And you go back to the 2010 post from Satoshi, who has answered this question. He says it doesn't matter, we'll find a newer hashing algorithm. So it is almost like this person has thought everything through. uh, I mean, you look at Facebook, you look at Google, the way they are run every 3 months, they have important meetings. The CEO kind of decides on where the trajectory could be, should be. But Bitcoin is like an animal that is on its own, right? You don't have board meetings in respect to Bitcoin. You don't have a marketing team for Bitcoin. It is just people like Sri or myself who keep talking about the power of Bitcoin. And today we have Donald Trump, Elon Musk, all these people advocating about Bitcoin, and this without the founding team anywhere near the picture. And it is one of the first pure digital public infrastructure, if I can call it. It's almost like air, water. It is like infrastructure that is common for everyone, not owned by any one person or with any one company. The vision of doing something like this, even today, most of the DeFi, I would say, is still run by a centralized set of people. I think that is not a bad thing. In the sense, you need to handhold for over a period till that project is self-sufficient and it can run on its own. then it can become pure DeFi. But Bitcoin to survive for 14 years, uh, and over a period, I thought if I am in this industry and I have strong conviction in Bitcoin, that is one reason why I am even in this industry. And the way you look at the market, Bitcoin is still 60% of the market cap, right? You take all the cryptocurrencies together and put it on one side, and you have just Bitcoin, all the Bitcoins that have been mined so far, right? Bitcoin is valuable more. And that talks, and this is typically in technology, you always see the newer projects taking over the older projects. But I think in terms of finance, it is always the other way around. It is always the trust is more important than the technology. Maybe Ethereum can be technologically superior in terms of the number of things that you can do with that platform. Bitcoin, you are able to do only limited amount of things, but I guess the trust is higher in Bitcoin. Even when you talk about ETFs or any kind of classification that SEC wants to do, you see that Bitcoin is pretty safe, right?
Mm.
There was never a
So
question.
let me. So Bitcoin's has been one clear source of inspiration and what it stands for, and quite clearly, Bitcoin deserves its own space. Not just is does it have a 55% dominance in crypto and digital assets, but it's quite evolved from to have its own space within not within digital assets but a separate space as a store of value, as an inflation hedge, as really kind of the next generation gold. Okay, so that's there. How does it how does this translate to what how you're building Geotus?
So one of the first differences that we saw between Bitcoin and Ethereum is that the attack surface on Bitcoin is very less because Bitcoin only does limited amount of things. So the trust is much higher in Bitcoin, probably because the attack vectors are not there. There will be 100 reasons why Ethereum could fail, but there will only be 10 reasons why Bitcoin would fail. So in the early days of Geotus, we realized we are not a tech company, but we are more of a finance company. If you look at the world of finance, it is not the technology that kills them, right? You go through the 2018 crisis, 2008 crisis, or you look what happened to Paytm recently. It is always the risk management part, or you look at FTX or any of those block price Celsius. It is the risk management part that killed them. It is not, they didn't go down because they didn't make enough profit. FTX was making a lot of revenues, right? Even just before they died, I guess they were making hundreds of $1 million in revenues. The reason why people die in finance is because of poor risk management and security. So this is something that we have focused on with Geotus right from day one. So we realized if as a company we are there for 15 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, then the company will keep growing. You look at banks, right? Indian Overseas Bank was established 100 years back. Indian Bank has a similar history. Or you look at HDFC Bank, 30 years. And once you develop trust, especially in India, where we are generally seen, Indians don't trust easily enough, right? It takes time. That is the reason. I mean, this is something that a statement Kunal Shah made. That is the reason why you have conglomerates in India. You have Tata doing salt to automobiles because the word Tata or Reliance is associated with trust, right? So in finance, if you are able to gain that kind of trust by doing right things, not doing mistakes, I think as a company you will have a very good future, and you also grow in a very steady pace, right? You don't want to grow too fast in the world of finance because that comes with a lot more risk. That is something that we have learned, and we are trying to apply to Geotus on a day-to-day basis. We value compliance and security and risk management much more than profits. So probably customers cannot see this because most of the things that happen with security or compliance, these are all below the hood. But I think guess the regulators, the government agencies, when they come for an audit, they could clearly see the difference. And I think that will be the key difference from Geotus to other platforms in this space. We will be there for another 100 years. That is the vision with
Mhm.
which we are building Geotus.
Okay, so it's great to really sort of hear that, and the focus on security, compliance, and what's really under the hood. So can you elaborate a bit more on that? So what exactly are you doing, which will we kind of makes all the client assets that the biggest risk is the counterparty risk with exchanges, right? That all the client assets are held, unlike, and just for the audience who is not familiar with how crypto exchanges operate, for example, unlike in other asset classes, like say equity, where the exchange and the custodian are different. Here is the same entity. So exchanges, crypto exchanges, centralized exchanges hold all the client assets, all the crypto tokens. How is your what's your sort of risk management security framework, which really ensures visibility, transparency for all assets, and also sort of really provides the confidence to investors and users that their assets are all secure on your exchange?
Okay. So I think the first and foremost is we allow self custody, right? Most of the large Indian exchanges don't do that, right? They force people to store crypto within their platform, but for the true purpose of decentralization, I think that is something we have always fought against. It comes with increasing amount of risk for the company also, because we have to be watertight with respect to compliance. We don't want some user to use the crypto for wrong purpose, because we always face the heat. And being in unregulated industry in bank, you have a license to operate. So if you have like few mule accounts, some terrorist uses this a particular bank account, bank's licenses cannot get cancelled. But it can very well happen in crypto industry, right? You don't want, and we don't have the bandwidth to face that kind of trouble. So we're extremely careful with respect to compliance. But at the same time, we are one exchange that allows self custody. So if customer
Mhm.
wants to purchase crypto, they can buy and take it outside the platform. And I think this is the most important thing a customer should look for, right? Over a longer period of time, I think it is very important people learn about self custody, because no matter how many things that we do, right, it could be 99.9999 percentage compliant efficient, but still we are in honeypot. We have a lot of people across the world trying to hack into us. So I think it is best for users to store the crypto themselves, right? Because that would decentralize the risk. We don't have too large to fail, right? That is first thing. Of course, right? No matter what we say, a large amount of users are going to end up storing crypto in our wallets. So it is our responsibility to keep it safe. So first thing is segregation. We don't store all the crypto in one particular wallet, right? We have cold wallet where we use BitGo. We have 150 million, sorry, $250 million insurance for the BitGo cold wallets. So if something gets stolen from those cold wallets, we have insurance to cover that. And a lot of this is you have like typical IT related things, right? You have multi-sig, you have firewalls. The people risk also, we try to do extensive background checks, so that a lot of times the risk is not outside, it is inside the organization. So I've been extremely careful in picking the key team, people who have access to the key systems. We have processes in place so that there is no key man risk. I think these are the key things that we try to do.
Hmm. Okay. um, And what's your business model as an exchange? What's your revenue stream? Is it just the fees from market making, essentially, sort of, or is it other services like OTC for high value clients? So what all do you do, and what's your sort of roadmap as well over the next 2-3 years?
Okay, so we are a full stack exchange, if you can call that. Uh, so we are allowing people to trade in order books, or if people want to directly purchase from us, where we are the counterparty, that is a product that we also have. So even if you think there's not enough liquidity, and we also do OTC, right? OTC is a separate set of customers. This is like wholesale trading, where people have requirements of $10,000 and above, and up to $1 million. We are able to meet their requirements. We have a product called Basket, which is similar to small case in the equity industry, where we have a bunch of crypto. Uh, the way they are arranged is based on a theme. It could be DeFi, it could be meme coin projects, it could be platform coins, exchange coins. So these kind of baskets we have, so that a new user, if he wants to invest in meme coin, they don't have to do a lot of research. So these baskets are all based on market cap. Of course, we also support SIP, I think, which has become pretty common household term in India right now. And but most of our revenue comes from our spot market, right? We are primarily an exchange, and we make money on the commissions. We charge around zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.4 percentage depending on trading volume, and that is where we make most of our revenue.
And in terms of your roadmap, that's the area that you will. These are the so you will continue to focus on.
See, post regulations, I think there's going to be a difference in the way we will operate or how crypto ecosystem in India operates. At that point of time, it matters with whom you have partnership. There could be some regulated products like mutual funds, ETFs that could get launched in India. How can Geotus play a role? Probably even we'll have physical centers across the country because a lot of people want to meet face to face, right? And there are opportunities even in the in terms of wealth management. So whatever you could think of in the banking and in fintech space, the same things needs to be reimagined in crypto space, right? As an exchange where we are converting fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat, we are in a very sweet spot. For example, when we talk about remittance or crypto payment gateways where users could accept crypto, it all involves fiat to crypto or crypto to fiat conversion. And we have done this for 7 years now, right? We will be able to facilitate that. So that is post regulations. Pre regulations, I think we have always ensured that our focus is India because India is still not a saturated market. It's a fast growing market. Uh, our crypto ecosystem, I would say, it has tapped less than 10-15% of the overall available market. So there is a lot of headroom to grow. And at this point of time, our ambitions are limited to Indian market as such. We want to grow to become the top exchange in India. That has been our, but and we are heading there slow and steady, one step at a time.
Mhm. Okay, so one step at a time, and we're at this amazing time where Bitcoin's at hitting an all-time high every now and then. I don't know what it's now at, probably at 107. We've got the entire crypto asset class at 4 trillion. Is it a little too late for people to get in now?
Definitely not, especially with Trump talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, right? If it ever comes to being, this price is something, it will look like a offer or sale price, right? We are never ever going to see these prices once strategic Bitcoin reserve gets announced and once it starts making those purchases. Because it's not just about this 200,000 Bitcoins that SBR will purchase every year, it is that signal. You have the world's largest economy piling bitcoins. It is going to lead to a stampede. You'll have institutions, you will have other governments, banks, all of them going to get hold of that particular bitcoin. And right, bitcoin has a, what to say, uh, irrespective of the demand, the supply is going to be constant, right? It is not going to change. It has an inelastic supply. With respect to gold or oil, when oil price shoots up to $150, you see a lot of old oil wells being repaired, and they start producing things because suddenly these wells are commercially viable. Same thing happens with gold, and suddenly you are able to offer more supply to the market. With respect to Bitcoin, it doesn't happen. When Bitcoin hits $1 million, the fresh supply of Bitcoin is still going to remain same. It will be 3.125 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. So with that kind of inelastic supply and extreme amount of demand, I think when people talk about $1 million per Bitcoin, $10 million per Bitcoin, all those things are possible. But of course, if strategic Bitcoin reserve is not announced, it doesn't come into picture. There are also other things like ETFs uh, and crypto-friendly US regulations. Even that could cause this bull run to extend for like 3 to 6 months. I think this bull run is special. First time we have ETFs. First time we have a US government that is friendly to crypto. You see, MiCA regulations are already in place. So, so typically you see the peak coming 12 to 18 months after the previous halving, but this time it could be different. We could have an extended bull run. That is something I'm looking forward to.
Mhm. All right, so in many ways we're just getting started. It's there are these cycles, and then there is an era. So we're very early in this
Yeah.
era, as such. So wonderful having you, Arjun, on Alpha Unashed. Thanks for being there.
Same here, Sri. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.